Hi, Scorpio. I'm wearing my comfort sweater because we're going to have a tough talk. And I want to feel safe. Welcome to your June reading and welcome to Gemini season. The sun is shining. The birds are singing. And all is well. So, here we go. June and Gemini season in general is a mirror. We've gone through the signs from Gemini until Libra so far. If you'd like to check out those videos and see how that mirror works respectively from sign to sign, it's interesting. Up until now, the mirror has told the truth. When we get to Scorpio, the mirror gets a little bit warped. When you look in that very clean Gemini reflection, you don't see you. And the truth of the matter is, whenever you look into a reflection, all you see is you. Your needs, your wants, your desires, your ambitions, your goals, your likes, your dislikes. You focus on yourself because you're a winner and you are oh so very confident in that fact. And so your life is about moving forward, progress, wealth, expansion, all done with the force of this Six of Wands rushing to meet its fate. So very happy with all its adoring fans below. From the smugness on the face of the horse to this kind of upturned chin on the rider of the horse. This is, I am me, and I deserve all the best things because I am the best. Now, we love this for you. And like I said, this is the reflection you see back all the time. But in Gemini season, that changes. Like I said, the mirror warps a little bit. The mirror is no longer interested in you. You know who you are. The good, the bad, the indifferent. You know who you are. And maybe that's the issue. Maybe because the astrological focus so much is on relationships, especially Scorpio rising, maybe that mirror tilts a little so you can finally see whoever or whatever it is that you are working towards, running right over, chasing, or running away from. The Gemini mirror shows you the object of your desires, the object of your goals and ambitions in a way that you have not seen them before. You have a tendency to look at things through the lens of your desire. What you want out of a person, what you want out of a situation. And I think it's brought you to a bit of a dead end, a standstill. So we go from confidently moving towards what we want to feeling like this isn't working the way it should. Why am I not continuing to get what I want? Well, as this mirror turns and starts to look at someone aside from you, of course, your power is going to diminish. You don't have this feedback loop going on with yourself all the time now, hyping yourself, right? Now that reflection is turned towards somebody else. In this case, the person that, the person, the thing, the job, whatever that you are wanting, searching for, aiming for, right? What happens when you see them in the mirror? Well, first of all, you can finally see them. Really see them. Even the parts they hide from you because they want you to think they're cool. And you know what you see when this light shines on them? You see someone who has been crumpled by your desire. You see someone who has been perhaps crushed by it. Doesn't mean they don't want the same things as you. It just means that you wanting them without being able to really see them outside of what you want from them, has created a sort of dissonance and confusion in them, a pain in them that they can't really talk to you about. But June shows it to you. They don't need to talk to you about it. You see it yourself. You can't help but see it. Now, when you see what this person is really feeling, how they're genuinely reacting, it hurts, right? You don't want this person to be hurt, certainly not by your desire for them, or your love for them, or your need for them, or your protection of them. This is all coming from like a very positive place. The last thing you want is for this person to be hurt or in some way overwhelmed by your needs, by your wants, by your idea of how things should go. It's not what you want at all. It's not your fault. You couldn't see them until right now. So now that you can see them, how do things change? Well, you are, after all, an incredibly sensitive and caring person. And once you realize that perhaps this running roughshod over people with ambition and desire is hurting them, when you realize that, you're able to pull back in the most gorgeous way. And you're able to create a really warm and inviting environment instead, which is going to go help you so much more on your journey anyway. But you pull back and you reset. You're like, wait, why am I out there trying to I need to sit back. I need to receive. I need to be so confident in the quality of the cup that I offer that I'm not really worried about what happens next, because I know what happens next. And you always know, right? You always know, but you know because you make it happen. Now you know what happens next because you can feel it. It's not something that you're doing. You're very Mars ruled. It's not something that you're doing. Now it's something that you're feeling. And that feeling is able to attract without pain. It's able to attract without coercion. It's able to see the person and take their feelings, their desires, their life, their habits, everything into consideration. So one of the things that happens when Scorpio is interested in a person, a job, anything, is once you get in there, you start to kind of change the few things that you don't like. And that's pretty easy to do when you don't really know what's going on with that person. But now that you see them, now it's hard to go in and say, oh, well, I'd rather tinker with this a little. I wish this wasn't like this. And it would be so much more convenient if you were more like this. If you do it now, consciously, once you realize and you're cognizant of the effect that you may be having on them, well, that's brutal, and you won't do it. Even if you start to do it, you'll just naturally be like, ugh, I don't want to do that. So we take the blame, the pressure, the shame, and the desire off of others. Why? Because nothing is moving right now. And the reason nothing is moving right now is because you've got to come to a realization and make a decision about whether or not you truly believe that the things that you want are good for you or not. Because you have this ability to play in this liminal space where something's really bad for you, but you still want it in an extreme way. And you're able to kind of talk yourself into it and be like, no, I can do it. I can handle it. It's like high self-esteem talk. I can handle it. I can do it. It's not that big a deal. But yeah, it's a really big deal. And I'm not really sure if handling it is going to happen. I think if you pull back enough that you can genuinely have a conversation with yourself about the things you want and why you want them, and the effect that wanting has, and what you expect when you want someone, if you start to examine that, I think you're going to see that there's a lot of pain involved there for you and for the other person. There's a lot of control, there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of demanding, sort of emotionally demanding behavior. And it's not to say that this opportunity, this love, it's not real. Because like, I don't want you to think that I'm doubting the quality of your care or your love. It's not that. It's just the way that your desire makes you behave. It doesn't in any way denote that you don't have like a super loving soul and that you don't have a lot to give. Of course you do. But it's like it gets thrown off track, and it's very hard to pick this up when you're in like ambition go mode. You know, we don't really see the Ace of Cups. We see this like person who will do whatever they need to do to get what they want. And that can be really scary. That can be really scary. Now, if you're dealing with a Gemini, or this is just about love that we're talking here, this is all about love for you, I think it's important for you to remember that just because you see you and that person a certain way doesn't, again, looking through the lens of your desire, doesn't mean that that's the reality. There comes a point in June where you see it for what it actually is. And that may not change your feeling necessarily, but it will give you like that very needed momentary pause before making bad decisions, right? Because the last thing you want to do right now is to impose yourself, throw yourself on, or interject yourself into someone or something's life that just isn't moving, and it's not gonna move. And if you feel like you can make it move by sheer force, you're banging your head against a brick wall and it's not gonna break. You'll break before the wall breaks. And I'm very aware of who I'm saying that to, but this wall is not gonna break. You can't get through this, Scorpio, with brute force. The way the sun is shining down on me with brute force right now, you can't outshine another person's needs. You can't out-seduce another person's needs. You can't wrap somebody up in love and lust and desire so much that they stop needing the things that they need, right? You can't love them out of being considerate to them. And consideration and love are like at the opposite ends of the spectrum right now for you. You know, what you love, you want in a certain way without consideration for what that person needs or wants, or what that job or what that education or what that is actually about. The more you struggle with this in June, the more it just gets thrown in your face. Like, you've got to care about more than this. Because being very single-minded like this can lead to a stagnancy that, well, first of all, nobody understands, you know, because from the outside it just looks like you're just going for what you want, but it's like you're running in place. But you're not getting anywhere. You're going after what you want, but you're not getting anywhere, right? So let's come back now to what we can do about this. Intentionality is really important here. If your intentions are good and what you're really looking for is some understanding and some love and some companionship or a better salary or a place to fit in, you know, all that is welcomed and rewarded. But when your desire becomes about somebody else and you want all those same things, that's where the universe in June is going to be like, we need to break you of this habit. You can't keep living like this. Because it's not fair to anyone around you, but it's also not fair to you. You know, you should, of course, take pride in being able to direct your life and do as you want and do it at the pace you want. But, you know, it's yours to do that way. When it's almost like you take responsibility for someone when you want to be with them, or, you know, take responsibility for that thing once you join it. And then you do feel like you need to steer it this way and that. And so much gets lost in that shuffle. So, you know, you end up, first of all, coming across in a way that you never want to come across, and you're completely unaware that it's happening. So that sucks, right? But it's also, don't get upset, but it's like embarrassing because like everybody around you is aware of what you're doing except you. You know, when you get into these zones of like, I really want that, or I really want this, everyone around you can see like the inner workings. They can see what's behind this. They can see where it's coming from. But you can't, right? And it's because you're so wrapped up in it. You're so, you identify so deeply with your desires. Again, very Mars ruled. But when that, you know, hard-headedness and like headstrong behavior is pitched up against public opinion and what, you know, and what your peers may think, your colleagues may think, if they were to actually know how this is actually going and how deeply committed you are to like fulfilling your own desire, I think you would be embarrassed by it. I think you would be uncomfortable. And so what we see happening a lot in Gemini season is just you bringing yourself into a space where, how do I say this? Where you care more about the person you want, or you care more about the thing you want than you do about wanting them. So it becomes an exercise in like, not just controlling your desire, but being responsible with your desire. It becomes a conversation about their needs and their circumstance without that added like, yeah, but that's what I need. But this is what there's like a disconnect here. Not that you shouldn't be telling people what you need. It's not that at all. But specifically when it comes to the things that we want and the things that we chase, the things that we desire, Scorpio holds that person responsible, culpable even, if you will, for what they feel, and therefore starting this like feedback loop of like deep attachment. And it's here, and it's possible. It is very possible. It is very possible. It just can't be done the way it's been done. Most importantly, because it's not going to be fulfilling to you at all. You just think it will be. You think when you have control over everything that you'll be happy, but you're never happy when you have control over everything. You're miserable. The element of surprise, the element of the unknown. How do we get the things that we want? How do we produce that? We have to get so clear and so deep into our energy of value and worth that regardless of what the external circumstances are, they don't shake you, because you know which direction you're going. Anyone who comes, great. Anyone who falls by the wayside, great. Anyone who can't keep up, great. Forget all this stuff now. Forget this deep, desirous need. Please stop. Please stop. Please get away from me. Forget this deep, desirous need. Conquer it. Look in that mirror and see that other person for who they really are, and give them a little room, give them a little space, give yourself a little room, give yourself a breath, right? And then you can, you can get back to it, and then you can do the charm thing and this, that, but you won't be the same with it, because the charm and the forcefulness and the everything that you were doing before, all of that, it was to get what you wanted. This is a different kind of softness. This is a different kind of charm. This is someone who is deeply interested in what that other person needs or feels, and that's it. And kind of leaving it there and letting anything that comes after that naturally progress from that mutual care between people. Much scarier than going straight for this is what I want, much more frightening. The slow burn is much more frightening. It's lack of control. You have no control over that. And that's where I feel that you truly find that like magic connection with someone, whether it's new, old, whatever, is that you have to stop making them beholden to you, to your desires, to what you want. Now, the other interesting side effect of behaving this way that I've noticed is that everything becomes like something you want or don't want. Like everything either like is categorized in your head as like something that pulls you in or pulls you away. There's very few things that remain neutral. And maybe this would be a great time of year, an opportunity to just remain neutral, to find some things in your life that don't immediately repel you and don't immediately make you want to, and just feel how that feels, right? Because we are having this long, protracted discussion about where your desires come from, how you act on them, how this Martian energy pushes you forward, and how it can blind you. And the other thing about being blinded this way is that if we're just like, fuck other people, who cares? If we're just talking about you, this is hard. It's hard to live this way. It eats at you. There's no one to blame. You're doing all the work, so you got to blame yourself when things don't go right. It's very difficult to not go on faith. It's a hard, hard life. And that's very reflective here. You've got the 9 of Swords, you've got the 10 of Swords, you've got the 5 of Pentacles. Like it's acknowledged that this is really, really difficult. But it's not impossible. And of course, if there's anyone who can do this, you can do it. And of course, if there's someone who can switch their head around, it's you. And isn't it kind of nice to get a break from the mirror and have it reflected on something else? Isn't it nice to just not be seen for a little while? I love you. Can't see anything. The sun is literally blinding. I love you. Let's look at these cards. Oh, also there's like a bunch of stuff going on. There's a New York date in August. There's July 7th in the Bay, July 9th in LA, July 14th, Mexico City. All that is at the events page on the website. I'll link it below. Let's look at these cards.